restrict their gun access, put them on a potential terrorist list, and really demonize them, not allow them to come back and fight against tyranny as they were trained to do. So is PTSD one of those things that does contribute? Sure is, but they diagnose it now more than ever, and they want to use it as an excuse to grab your gun. I thank you for the call. We're going to go to John, an anti-federalist. It's the Infowarrior, back after this. We are back, and I really wanted to, I like the tech news. I want to touch on this one. Sperm-like nano propeller is smallest swimmer ever. Remote-controlled, let me repeat that, remote-controlled nano devices that look like sperm but mimic the corkscrew motion of flagella may one day deliver drugs to where they are needed in the body. See, this nanotechnology, these small machines, I mean, they are the equivalent of viruses. They're that small. Do you understand? We're at that molecular level where machines are really life forms at this point. Okay, that's why we have glowing monkeys who are, producing glowing babies. We have, glowing dogs. We have all sorts of other chimeras. We have HIV in corn, Monsanto style. And now we have sperm-like nanopropellers that are remote controlled. We have edible RFID tags. Reported on that last week. I mean, we are truly living in a mind-blowing era. And, I would say 99.999999% of the population, including myself, cannot really grasp or understand what these implications are or how this thing works at all. Flagella are the structures some bacteria use to swim through water. Because water is syrupy at small scales, ordinary swimming motions don't work well. Picture trying to swim in a pool of asphalt on a hot summer's day, says Peter Fisher of the Rowland Institute at Harvard University. Instead, flagella use a corkscrew motion to drive bacteria through the water. The motion of flagella inspired Fisher and his colleague Ambarish Ghosh to create their nano propellers made of glass. Each one has a spherical head 200 to 300 nanometers across and a corkscrew-shaped tail 1 to 2 micrometers long, less than 1/10 of the length of a human sperm. I mean, you think you could get smaller than an actual one shot of a sperm? I mean, that's tiny, folks. I mean, that's microscopic level, and they are 1/10 of the size, less than 1/10. Mind-blowing. Absolutely incredible. John in Canada, you're on the air. Yes, John.
Hey, how's it going, Jason?
All right.
All right. I got to thank you. I've called in several times to your show, but I got to thank you for introducing me to the Dropkick Murphys.
Hey, all right. It's a killer band, huh?
It rocks. I love it.
Good to hear. Good to hear. What else you got for me, John?
Well, you were talking earlier. I talked to you earlier on gun control issues, and this whole thing regarding what you guys are going down there about having to record how much ammo you buy and when you buy it and everything. You have to fight that.
Yeah,
everybody who's listening right now has to fight that as much as they can.
A 10-year period, too. This isn't just like some mom-and-pop operation. They literally want to first of all, they want to make sure that the guns you're going to be using are legal and that you're a legal gun owner. And then on top of that, they want to register how much ammunition you actually buy for those weapons. And then they want to log that for 10-plus years.
Okay. Well, Jason, I'm going to tell you how it goes on in Canada right now.
Okay.
Most people go to their cheapest source for ammunition, right? They go to, Malmart, or they go to Crappy Tire, Canadian Tire here in Canada, and we go buy our ammunition. But what happens is they log in the little book in a binder, and 9 out of 10 times they leave the binder out with your address on it. Now, I'm sure you can actually tell me what the implications are of this, because you can have any gangbang or anybody come up and say, hey, this guy bought a whole bunch of ammunition. He has guns. I'm going to go bust into his house and take them.
Well, on top of that, criminals, the excuse they're using, we're going to keep you safer. Criminals normally don't buy ammunition at a store, especially because most of the ammunition that you can get at a store, at least in the United States, is for a shotgun or a rifle,
Yeah, they buy it off the street.
Exactly. They're buying this stuff up to the real criminals. This is for the American populace. This is why we have all these DHS documents coming out where they say they're demonizing people who, like the Constitution, are part of Campaign for Liberty, have a Ron Paul bumper sticker, are handing out Zeitgeist in America, Freedom to Fascism, are ex-military, are anti-illegal immigration. I mean, they are really trying to dragnet throw a wide net over the populace and just reel in 90% of us. And the 10% that they don't name, and it's really everybody, because you could be a lone, I don't have these documents in front of me. Yes, a lone wolf terrorist. There's like two of them that are extremely ambiguous, or a one-issue extremist, where it's like, okay, so any issue that I'm passionate about that might pertain to the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, or individual liberties and freedoms at all makes me an extremist. And most people won't take the time to actually read the documents. You know, I was listening to Stern today, and they gave John the Stutterer his own show. Not Stuttering John Melendez. This is a different guy. John the Stutterer gets his own show, and he's had it for a little bit over a year now. And then they had him take on, like, one of the conservative whack packers. And the conservative guy, I actually did this already, the dollar one, but thank you. And he tells the conservative guy talks about Napolitano and these VHS reports, basically demonizing the military. And John goes, oh, that's nothing. That was a big misunderstanding. That's a joke. Meanwhile, there are 3 of these reports that we have that are public that all say essentially the same thing, and to some degrees are even worse when they start talking about how we're spying on people at James Madison College, and they always like to keep it a hot topic. They're actually happy that those anti-abortionists killed this guy in front of a church. It makes anti-abortionists look bad. They love that. Meanwhile, it's something like, how many abortionists have died in this country from gunfire from these people? I think it's something like 4. Again, they blow the threat out of proportion to demonize a large group of people. And thank you for the call, John. I couldn't agree more. Everybody needs to step up to the plate with this registering of ammunition bill in Albany. Go check it out. Anti-Federalist in Georgia, you're on the air.
Hello, world. I just quickly wanted to mention the young guy called earlier about the Crime Stopper program that they have going on in Florida, and I was actually on my way back from there this weekend, and there's a billboards all over.
I lost you, buddy. I lost you, Anti-Federalist. I don't know what happened. I heard you saying billboards all over, and then you just kind of drifted off. But you back?
Yeah, I'm here. All
right. Go. I can kind of hear you. You're breaking up. Try again, man.
I'm in a 3G dead zone, man. Okay, I was coming back from Florida this weekend. I saw these Crime Stopper billboards, and they didn't mention anything about guns, but what they did mention is cash for crime. Now, I'm not exactly sure what they're implying, but it sounds like, just another version of a Tattletale Squad looking to,
Well, they're expanding everywhere with their Tattletale Squads. I mean, the DHS is expanding right now. AmeriCorps is now really ramping up City Year, which is going to be their front organization for the youth. They've got them in the fascist jackets, the military formation. This is just expanding. The Boy Scouts are going to fight terror through the Explorers program. It's time to give them mock shotguns and mock automatic weapons because they're going to have to fight disgruntled veterans that are coming back from the war. I mean, this is preparing us for total tyranny, a total tattletale Stasi squad, literally Hitler Youth version 2.0 with a nicer face. But it's not a nicer face. It's just a different face. It's a different face for the times. I'm sure a lot of people back in the day when they were, rocking the Hitler salute thought that Hitler was a nice face. I mean, that's the sick society that we live in, that we can't correlate the past with what's going on now. Meanwhile, the same people are essentially in power. I thank you for the call. All right, I want to play this clip of New York making the right decision, saying it is against the Fourth Amendment for the criminal police to put a GPS device on your car and track and trace you. That's right, it's illegal. It's okay in Wisconsin, apparently, if you're a police officer. Not okay in New York. Hit it.
New York's top court says police cannot place GPS trackers on suspects' vehicles without first getting a court warrant.
Elaine has that story and more in our Around the Region report tonight. Elaine?
Jim, the Court of Appeals ruling today clears the way for a new trial for Scott Weaver. Weaver was convicted of burglary at the Latham Kmart several years ago, partially because a GPS device showed that he was in the store's parking lot just before the break-in. Today's ruling means that evidence will not be allowed at his new trial.
See, if that was the only clip, I thought there was another one on top of that. I didn't look at all of them. But, they always use a bad example. Like, this guy may, in fact, be guilty. But, again, they rule that it is illegal for police to do that. But it's legal in Wisconsin. When somebody else does it in Wisconsin, it's called stalking because that's what it is. It's stalking.